Good morning, Elmira Baptist Church. I'm picking up again with our weekly updates, and today is the 29th of August. I've taken a break and wondered if that mattered to anyone, and then someone recently said to me, that mattered. And so I'm going to pick this up again. There are 3 places where you can easily find this. It'll be live on Facebook, and as you know, a live event on Facebook will later be archived, so you can find us on Facebook, this update. You can find it on our YouTube channel, where I will post it, as I understand it, as a podcast, so maybe that helps you. And then I also post it to SoundCloud, and I asked SoundCloud to update the Apple Podcast directory, so you probably can find this on your favorite podcast player. You're looking for Elmira and You. The word "and" is not A-N-D, it's that ampersand, that funny little sign there in the middle that means "and." So Elmira and You. And my goal is to have these once a week. Won't be every week, but many weeks we'll have this, and it will give you an opportunity to keep up with what's going on at Elmira Baptist Church. I'm going to change the format. I'm going to change the way that I do it, and I'm going to start this week with some prayer requests. I hope you're praying for some of these folks in our church with some serious and ongoing health issues. Larry needs your prayers, and his wife Nita as well, so be praying for them. And of course, Ruth is recovering, and I'm grateful for her recovering, but she needs your prayers as well. For the building, please pray for PG&E to put that transformer on that pad there, to pull the wires through there and onto the meter so that we can be connected to the grid. We can start that meter running. Yes, I know it costs a lot to have power from PG&E. But you can only imagine that we can't even get into the building without power from PG&E. So be praying for that, and the sooner that they get their part done, the sooner that we can finish up the rest of that building project. One of the reasons that I wanted to restart this weekly update is we are headed into an election season. And as Christians, we have a great privilege in voting for the people that represent us, whether it's at the local level, county level, state level, federal level. And I hope that you plan to take advantage of that privilege. It's your obligation, I believe, before God. It's your obligation to know who the candidates are, to know what the issues are, and to vote wisely, to use your vote. I do know that often elections can be a divisive thing in a church, and it doesn't need to be that way. I want to remind you that whether we like the outcome of the election or not, even whether we feel that the election was fair or not, there are 4 things that all Christians can agree about. Number 1, again, regardless of how the election turns out, regardless of whether the election is fair or not, number 1, God is still in control. Psalm 145:13 says, "Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations." I remind myself of this. I don't always like the direction that the world is headed. Certainly don't always like the direction my government is headed. I don't even like the direction my family is headed all the time. But God is still in control, and I need to do my part to make sure that God's will is done in my life, in my family's life, and yes, in my government. Here's the second thing we can all agree on: that God is the one who ordains governments. Romans 13:1 says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God." Now, when Paul writes this statement, he's living in the Roman Empire. He's living during the time of Caligula, Claudius, or Nero, that time period. These are not good men. These are not godly men. They're not even moral men. And yet he said there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So we can agree that not only is God in control, God is the one who sets up and takes down governments, not us, even though we vote. And again, I believe as Christians we have an obligation to God to cast our vote wisely. But it's God who sets up governments. Number 3, we can all agree that we still need the Holy Spirit. 2 Corinthians 3:17 says, "Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." Our liberty does not ultimately come from our government. I'm glad they recognize the liberties that God has granted to us. But those liberties come from God, and we need the Holy Spirit to live in that liberty. Now, there's a fourth thing we can all agree on, and that is Sunday is the day that we focus on worshiping God. I know I have feedback, and I'm glad for your input and your feedback. I know some of you wish I spoke more on political issues. I know some of you feel like I speak too much on political issues. One of the things I'm trying to focus us on Sunday, I want to focus us on worshiping God and hearing from His Word. Now, we live in a country, and we have news, and there's things that we want to pray about, and we do that from time to time. But Sunday is a time to focus on God. I ask you on Sundays, especially when you're here on this campus, gathered to worship the Lord, if you would set aside politics so that you can focus on worshiping God and hearing from His Word. I'm not saying talking about politics is bad. I am saying that if we begin to talk about politics so that it consumes us, it consumes our thinking, and we miss the opportunity to do what is truly important, and that is to worship the God who controls everything and who sets up and takes down governments, then we've missed it. We don't want to miss it. So use Sundays, if you would, as the Lord's day, and determine that you are going to focus. You're going to push aside the distractions and set your attention on worshiping God when you gather with us on Sundays. Now again, you be informed, vote, use that obligation, fulfill that obligation, use that responsibility wisely. There's a quote that was a help to me 4 years back, and I want to read it to you. You'll probably hear it again. This is from a man whose name is Adam Mayberry, and he says this, quote, "While the world may lose their collective marbles when an election goes wrong, may it never be so for the Church of Jesus Christ. Remember, your King is on the throne already. While the outcome may change the moment it changes, neither the mission nor eternity." Let me read that sentence again. While the outcome may change the moment, it changes neither the mission nor eternity. The world is desperate for people who are secure enough in grace that they can flourish under Caesar, whoever he or she may be. End quote. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. There are some immediate events that are coming up here in the next few weeks, and I want to share those with you. This coming Sunday, it is Labor Day weekend, and some of you may already have planned vacation time trips away, and I understand. If you are at home this weekend, I know where you should be on Sunday morning at 9:45, right here. We're going to be meeting for Sunday school, immediately following that morning worship, and then, of course, 5 o'clock evening worship. The morning sermon is on working in your garden. Read Genesis chapter 2 in order to prepare for that. And in the evening, I've asked one of the men to speak to us, and look forward to that as well. Next Wednesday, September 4th, our split sessions resume. Men will be meeting in here. Ladies will be meeting in the ministry room. Ladies, your chapter is on Tamar. Please prepare that chapter before you meet next Wednesday. Men, we're going to be working our way through the book, The Pursuit of God. It does not need to be this edition, but in my edition and in this edition, there's two small sections that begin the book. One's called Tozer's Legacy, and the other is the preface. Would you please read those, Tozer's Legacy and the preface, before you come next Wednesday? September 8th, Lord willing, the choir is going to resume meeting, and on September 11th through the 15th, Dan DeLong from BIMI is going to be with us. There's a time to meet on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. He's going to speak on prayer. Thursday night, 7 p.m., he's going to speak on missions. Friday night, 7 p.m., he's going to begin a marriage seminar that he's going to conclude on Saturday, September 14th. We're going to begin at 10 o'clock, and he's going to have two sessions that morning on marriage. And then on September 15th, he'll be preaching to us Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night. We got him busy. And I almost forgot it. It's right here. Thursday morning, September 12th, 9:30. Let me say that again. Thursday morning, September 12th, 9:30 is our next senior breakfast, and I've asked him to speak to our seniors as well, so don't miss it. September 22nd is our next food and fellowship. That's the earliest Sunday it can be. It can be as late as the 28th, the earliest it can be is the 22nd, and every time we have a food and fellowship on the 22nd or the 23rd, it sort of sneaks up on me. I mean, all of a sudden, here we are, not even done with the month, and boom, here's a food and fellowship Sunday. So let me just remind you, it's the 22nd. The theme is salads and stuff, and Lord willing, we'll have seating outside as well as inside on that day. We'll follow that up with our praise and testimony time. And then that evening, September 22nd, 5 p.m., Elmira Baptist Church in Fairfield has invited us to join them for a Singspiration, and I intend to be there. So again, that's 5 o'clock on the 22nd. So we'll have our praise and testimony time. We'll get done about 3:15 as we often do. I'm going to go home, freshen up a little bit, and then head over there to meet at 5 o'clock on September 22nd, Elmira Baptist Church in Fairfield. September 28th is Widow's Day, and if you are a widow or a widower here at Elmira Baptist Church, would you let me know what kind of work you need done? If you are not a widow or a widower, please sign up. There'll be a sign-up sheet here soon. Sign up to be a part of that Widow's Day on September 28th. We'll go out, we'll talk with the widows, meet with them, but also get some work done around their homes that will be a blessing to them. 2 other dates, one for the women, October 3rd through the 5th is the Ladies Retreat at Wolf Mountain, and we need to get our applications and our money into them. That's October 3rd through the 5th at Wolf Mountain. Men, our dates are November 1st and 2nd. That's a Friday and a Saturday, November 1st and 2nd. The 2-minute warning is at Faith Baptist Tabernacle in North Highlands. If you want to be a part of that, men, you need to go to their website, the2minutewarning.org. Don't forget the THE ahead of 2-minute warning. The2minutewarning.org. And just register for the 2024 event. Again, that's November 1st and 2nd. We will arrange for carpooling up on Friday, back on Friday night, back up on Saturday morning, and back on Saturday afternoon. But right now, what I need you to do is sign up. And the benefit of signing up early is when you sign up, they begin to pray for you by name. And the Schmitz and that church, Faith Baptist Tabernacle, takes prayer very seriously. So please go and sign up even today if you would. And then be here this Sunday. 9:45 for Sunday school, 11 o'clock for morning worship, and then we'll follow that up 5 o'clock in the evening with evening worship. You plan to join us.